We've got somebody that I'm going to love having on the show here today. We've got Amy Vandevelde. Did I say that right, Amy?
Well, it's kind of complicated. It's Vandevelde.
Vandevelde. It's the E.
Right.
We've been missing the E. Okay.
It's all right. I'll answer to anything.
Amy, great to have you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, with Oasis and individuals out there, Amy, may say, Oasis, that is something cool, out in the middle of nowhere, you're in the Oasis. And really, that is what your business does. You're there, you're coming out of nowhere and you're helping individuals. And maybe kind of give a quick bio of what Oasis is, please.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Oasis is a national nonprofit geared towards successful aging. And our founder found that there was three components to successful aging. That's keeping your brain engaged, staying physically active, and being involved with community or having a strong social network, since we're going to tie into the Oasis Connections program. That's what I head up for the country, and it is about keeping people up to date with technology.
And Amy, that is so important. All three of those categories are. Let's start maybe with the technology aspect of it. Some individuals, the baby boomers and beyond, they're afraid of technology.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. Traditionally, they have been afraid of technology, and a lot of people have asked me over the years why. And I had a colleague demystify that completely for me. He said, when I was a boy, my dad told me, if you break that thing, you don't get another one. And so that's the mindset, that they're going to keep something and keep it nice. And so that's how they've approached technology. But if we look back in the past 2 years, one of the reasons that people are fearful is because of hacking and cybercrime. So that's a new way that people are maybe more digitally literate or digitally ready, but then they hold back and say, I'm not sure I want to try that because of these recent hacks and things.
And a lot of things too, naturally individuals, the baby boomers are going to doctors. They're going to their physicians and all that. And their physicians want them to get on the patient portal so that they can have those communications.
They do. And this is a little bit. It's a complete change in how you communicate with your doctor. Our people are used to calling on the phone, and the patient portal makes it a whole different way of communicating. If you don't have internet in the home or you don't have a smartphone, why should you want to do the patient portal? So there's some pushback there, but also people realize that it's a great way to communicate once they understand what it actually is.
Well, Amy, how does the Oasis Connections help people keep up with the technology?
Well, we're a technology training program going strong for 14 years. We've trained over 100,000 people in that time frame. And the reason that the program started was to help older adults bridge the digital divide, which is what it was called then. And in reality, with technology becoming so much a part of our lives, all of us need help keeping up. And so now the Connections program is geared to helping people start with technology or keep up with it.
And Amy, I'm in the same situation, being 64. Next year, I'm going to be being part of the Medicare, and naturally going online is also, it's almost mandatory.
Right. Government agencies are looking for people to do more online activities. This is a big change from, going on the phone. And so sometimes people won't get someone to answer the phone. They're not comfortable with their private information and giving it on an online way. So Connections helps them feel safe doing that and gives them the skills to do that and helps them understand why it's relevant for them to do it. And nobody is going to use a technology, no age group, unless it's relevant to their life.
So what happens if somebody's given a device, say by a friend or a family member, and they just don't have any idea how to use it?
Well, if they're lucky enough to live in a location where we have classes, they can go to a class. Most public libraries also offer classes to help people get up to speed on those devices, and our website will give them free tip sheets to help them get used to that device. So there's 3 resources right there that can help people get up to speed on mobile devices. And
I know when we started the segment, Amy, you had mentioned that a lot more individuals over 65 are on the web, and the staggering numbers are coming into play here, where long ago, or a year ago even, it wasn't that many, and now it's tripled, quadrupled.
Right. So the Pew Internet and American Life Study is the main place that studies our digital lives. And I use most of my data from them, but they report that 58% of people over 65 are now using the Internet. And that's amazing when you consider in 2000, only 14% were online. And that's why Connections was started, because there were so few people over 65 going online.
Well, that's a huge spike. And I've got I'm sitting here thinking about this, but, with caregivers, oftentimes, Amy, you've got a spouse caregiver, And so, I'm going back, perhaps backtracking a little bit, but, doctors wanting their patients to use these portals, I would think that would be a huge thing. If you're a caregiver having to take care of somebody, you want to have access to that information.
Correct. One area that we're really looking to expand connections and working on is accessing caregivers, because they have so much to do and so many things to do, and technology can shortcut that for them and also can help them get information that they need right away at their fingertips.
So, Oasis has these classes, this training, and what have you. Is there anything that they're able to do? So, if they're not able to go to classes, they'd still be able to learn even online.
Well, for connections, we're very attached to the classroom model, because Marilyn Mann, our founder, was a K-12 curriculum developer, and what we do best is develop excellent curriculum. So in the meantime, lots of online resources have popped up that are wonderful, but people have to have internet literacy skills to be able to use these. So caregivers will often be users of these services, but can the person themselves access them? It's always great for them to either have a class or a book. Our classroom model gives the person who attends the class or their caregiver a book, a reference manual. And that way, there isn't so much dependency on the person who's helping with technology. The book can be the reference.
And I guess Amy, you really want them to be able to learn in such a way that they're not having to self-teach and miss out on certain aspects.
Right. For people who are hesitant to learn, it's a much better experience to learn from a patient instructor who is understanding where they're coming from. And a classroom situation is really wonderful when you can see, oh, there's a lot of other people that are just like me, and it feels less isolating. And that's really critical to people, to feel less isolated.
So there's a social aspect of it, too.
There's a very social aspect of it.
Yeah, a lot of the individuals don't get an opportunity, Terry D., I'm sure, to get out and about. And by going to these classes, they learn, number one, but also they get the networking. And networking, what I mean by that is they get to meet people their own age, maybe even younger and older or whatever, doesn't matter. But they just get to interact more. Maybe they don't have a family. Maybe they're by themselves. This gives them an opportunity to get more friends. And Amy, I think this is something that Oasis Connections, again, this national digital literacy training program is so vital. And it's been around for close to 14 years? 14
years we have. And it's really amazing that we've been able to reach the number of people we have. And that is because of our community partnership model. So any public library and any senior center, Salvation Army or Y, can pay a small licensing fee to get access to our content so that they can hold classes in their own labs. And it works beautifully.
And there's a lot of contributions from a lot of major companies out there as well.
Right. The Oasis Connections program would not be in existence without the U.S. Department of Commerce giving us seed money, AT&T Foundation keeping us running until this year, and then the Consumer Electronics Association Foundation just gave us a contribution to help us create our newest course, Mobile Accessibility. So do either of you have mobile phones? I know, because I can see them sitting out on the table.
Well, you don't. Basically, when you go out to lunch, everybody puts their mobile phone in the middle, and whoever grabs it first, they pay for the entire lunch.
I've heard about that.
And it works, Amy.
Okay, so I'll be sure not to pick up my phone when I go out to lunch with you guys. So essentially, mobile accessibility, that class is a free download. So because of AT&T and Consumer Electronics Association wanting people to have this information, people can visit our website, which will be linked to your page, and they can download this book for free. And it teaches people how to make the text size bigger on your phone. Have either one of you ever wanted to make your text size bigger on your phone?
All the time. And you know what I do? I find a 9-year-old kid, and he comes over and takes care of it for me.
Well, we want you to do it yourself.
Yeah, you're right.
The other thing is for people with some hearing loss, they can pair their hearing aids to the device.
Yeah, let's talk more about that on the other side of the break here, Amy. Again, we're speaking with Amy Vande Velde, and basically she's with Oasis Connections, speaking about national digital literacy. That's Terry D. I'm Gary B. We'll be right back with more September Living.
There's so much information here. This is awesome.
I tell you, with technology as it is today, I think this show is really one that goes above and beyond all the rest of the shows, simply because technology is the way of the future. And if you're not part of technology, you're going to get lost. And it's so easy. And Amy, again, with Oasis and heading that division of the National Digital Literacy Training Program, that is something that it's a step in the right direction. So our listeners out there really do need to go to our website, septemberliving.com, click on the radio tab at the top of the page, and you'll be able to get all the information concerning Amy, concerning the Oasis connections, and how to email her, text her. I mean, anything that you want to do. This is technology, so you need to start learning. Don't be left behind. Because these are some great ideas. And before we went to break, Amy, we talked about the phones. Naturally, there are all kinds of iPhones. I mean, people have flip phones, people have the iPhones, and a lot of that technology goes crazy. But a lot of people say, well, I'm hard of hearing, or we talked about increasing the font prior to the commercial. Touch upon that a little bit, please.
Yeah, so we still serve a lot of people who have flip phones, and I am totally fine with that. If you're happy with your flip phone, keep it. That's fabulous. If you choose to use a smart device, you have the ability to make the font size much bigger, or you can change the contrast so that it's easier to read. The other thing is that hearing aid technology has improved, and these hearing aids can now be paired with a smartphone or a tablet. And if you're walking around and you have your location services turned on, let's say that you go to church and it's a big echoey church, the hearing aids can automatically adjust and know where you are. And this is amazing. The other thing is they can pair with your smart TV, and you can have your hearing aid in your ear as loud as you want, and your significant other or spouse does not have to have it up so loud.
But Amy, would think it's important that people understand that, while you're throwing out a lot of technology here that is way over my head, they don't have to necessarily understand how all of it works. They just need to know that it's available.
They need to know it's available, and usually the first step to someone adopting a technology is for them to witness somebody else doing it, and that's why we believe in classroom training and one-on-one help sessions, which we do. And we also have this free book that they can download at our website. We'll have a link to it, and they can download the book on how to set up all these settings on a smartphone or tablet.
Amy, you talked about voice recognition. Again, you don't have to type in the number or the letter. You can talk to it.
Oh my gosh. I do not like typing on soft keyboards, and I'm not quite in the 65 demographic. So I like to use Siri, because I happen to have an iPhone, to dictate texts for me, or to tell me something, or to dial a phone number. But if you want to text your grandchild, you can push the button on an iPhone or on an Android phone, and it will listen for you, and it will type out what you're saying, instead of you trying to use these little teeny tiny keys and type all of those letters. It's amazing.
Well, and you know what I've got to ask here, and of course this is probably a rhetorical question, but as we sit here and we talk about this amazing technology that is just so beyond the scope of what I can wrap my head around, what are they working on that we're not even aware of?
Well, that could be a whole show. I think that if you think in terms of the driverless car and what it could do if it were sitting in a neighborhood for seniors who want to age in place, that is a game changer. If the person only needs to go get their hair done, get their groceries once a week, having a driverless car in a neighborhood, that changes
amazing.
People's lives. Now, we're not there with driverless cars. It's probably going to be another 20 years. But that's what I've been told by the experts in the industry. So that's what I'll pass on. I
think they have a few in the West Coast that have had a few accidents that they're trying to fine tune them.
Correct.
But they're out there.
But I mean, that alone, and all of the different items, there are numerous scores of items that help people age in place, and that is what most people want to do. Right.
That's exactly right. And you touched upon the grandkids and having them help you out. I mean, that is a great way for relationships, a grandmother, grandfather, and a grandkid to bond a little bit, because the kid feels like, oh wow, I'm helping somebody, and it gives them they go, wow, I'm good, I'm doing something.
Yeah, but what happens, Amy, if the grandparent, the grandkids are busy, they don't want to burden the kids, things of that nature?
Well, so it can work, but it works really well with a child who's very patient and wants to help. And those are the same qualities I look for when I'm looking for a connections instructor throughout the country. If there's the other side of the coin, which is that the older adult may not want to ask for help. They may not want to be burdensome to the grandchild or the children. And so being in a classroom setting, again, is such a great way for them to get out, to meet other people who are in their circumstance, and to learn more about technology.
That's Amy Van de Velde. And again, she oversees the Oasis Connections. It's a national digital literacy training program. And again, those individuals out there that say, oh, technology is taking over, I can't keep up with it. Don't feel that way, because again, Oasis, Amy, just brings that to life to individuals, and they really do need to say, hey, they can get training, and it doesn't matter in St. Louis, in New York, in Washington State, they're available in everybody's hometown.
Right. So because of our website, anybody can download free content. I have free tip sheets that I'll link to. I have 2 free books that you can download, and in addition, we have all kinds of information on our website. But if you aren't lucky enough to have Oasis Connections in your community, there are 2 things I would ask you to do. One is to go to your public library and find out what they have for you, or your senior center, or your Y, or your Salvation Army, any place that has a public computer lab. And the other thing would be to ask your librarian, if they don't have any tech training, to please contact me and adopt the Connections program, because it works really well in public libraries, and librarians are the nation's help desk. This is where people go to get help with their problems.
That's great, great information. And again, all this information can be found going to septemberliving.com.
Septemberliving.com. At the top of the page, click on the radio tab, and it'll have all the information concerning Amy and the Oasis Connection. And Amy, as we wrap this segment up, what would you like to leave the September Living listeners with concerning Oasis Connections?
Well, I think that the main thing for people to keep in mind is that they are totally capable of learning the technology. They need to witness it. They need to experience it a little bit. And when people tell me I'm dumber than this phone, I turn right around and say, no, you're not. And I'm here to help you outsmart this phone. And that's what Oasis Connections is about.
Amy Van de Velde, appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Very good. Terry D., did you learn something?
That's awesome. Absolutely. And I'm going to be going out to the Connections technology to see. There's got to be something there for everybody. I'll guarantee you that there's people that think that they know everything there is to know about stuff, and they'll learn. They could learn more about all this technology.
Yeah, as we mentioned at the top of the show, I was at my reunions, and I'm watching my little nieces at 9-year-old. I mean, they're just picking this phone, or not 9, even 7. And I mean, they're young, and they're picking up this phone and doing this and doing that. And I go, I didn't know my phone can do that, you know. So you can imagine individuals out there that are maybe be stuck in their home and can't get out and about with individuals. And this is a perfect opportunity to learn. And as we said before, it's a great networking when you go into the training class, Terry D. Great
social event for them. And again, you know, you're going to meet people that, might be able to benefit and help you in other ways as well.
Yeah, there's a lot available out there that, again, can open up a new life for individuals out there. Right now, they may be stuck in a rut. They don't, as I said before, they may not have a family. They may, their kids are gone, or they're living by themselves. They've lost their spouse. Now, this gives them an opportunity to relive and open up again.
And I think they have to understand too, Gary B., that don't be fearful. I don't think there's really anything they can do to these devices that will ever hurt it. If they're, I think a lot of times they might be afraid that they're going to push the wrong button, and it's going to, self-destruct. That's not going to happen.
Right. Don't be afraid to ask. Just do it. Again, that's something that individuals are really not liking to do. Great show today, Terry D.